Welcome to the first in a series of James Bond top 10s. When we decided to do these, we wanted to cover all aspects of Bond that can be comfortably grouped together in a 10, the obvious and the more off the wall. Safe to say that we're starting with the obvious. Everyone knows Bond girls have suggestive names. That's why Austin Powers has
a lot of vagina.
But actually, they're really thin on the ground. Never mind a top 10. Finding 10 was a challenge. Timothy Dalton and Daniel Craig's Bonds are too serious for this game.
And you're Miss Stephanie Broadchester, yeah?
I am not.
You're going to have to trust me on this.
Mostly. So we're starting at the tail end of the Brosnan era with two that come in joint 10th because they only just make the cut.
I am peaceful fountains of desire.
It's not really an innuendo when you just say it.
I come with compliments of the manager.
But it's definitely a visual image.
I'm not that kind of masseuse.
Jones. Christmas Jones. And don't make any jokes, I've heard them all.
And that's not suggestive until you do start making the jokes.
I thought Christmas only comes once a year.
Or at least joke. Couldn't they have said something about stockings, baubles, jingle bells? I don't know, it just feels like there was more mileage there. You'd think this sort of thing was right in Roger Moore's ballpark. Not least because his own name is more of a double entendre than that of most Bond girls. But, again, many of them are just barely trying. At number 9, From a View to a Kill...
Welcome, sir. I'm Jenny Flex.
Of course you are.
A character played by Alison Doody, who would later encounter another James Bond in a slightly different guise.
How did you know she was a Nazi? She talks in her sleep.
Little better at number 8 is Moneypenny's one-time assistant in Octopussy.
This is Miss Penelope Smallbone, my new assistant.
Miss Smallbone?
Incidentally, we've left out Octopussy herself because, as a double meaning,
That's my little octopusy.
I have no idea what that would actually mean. At number 7, you've got to admire this girl from The Man with the Golden Gun.
Good morning.
Who plays no role in the rest of the film and has apparently shown up, naked, just for a single joke.
Sounds very tempting, Miss,
To me.
Really?
In fact, this was Françoise Terry's only film role. That's dedication to a dirty joke.
Well, there's only one small problem. I have no swimming trunks.
Neither have I.
But the golden era of the dirty named Bond girl is the Connery years, starting as it means to go on.
I admire your courage, Miss...
Trench. Sylvia Trench.
Not the most appealing of names, but it is through Miss Trench we first meet Bond in Dr. No.
I admire your luck, Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
And she would reappear in From Russia with Love, the only returning Bond girl in the franchise's lengthy history until Madeleine Swan in No Time to Die. Incidentally, fans of Hammer Horror will recognise actress Eunice Gayson from The Revenge of Frankenstein. Of course, Dr. No does have a better known Bond girl, and she comes in at number 5. Though she only shows up an hour into the movie, Ursula Andress is surely the most iconic Bond girl, largely because of that first appearance, overshadowing a rare name that manages to be quite pretty, as well as subtly suggestive.
Ryder.
Ryder what?
Honey Ryder.
Andress would go on to play Vesper Lind in the 1967 Casino Royale,
Mr. Bond. Miss Mr. Bond.
which also includes a character called Miss Goodthighs.
I'm Miss Goodthighs.
I can see that.
But the film's not canon, so it doesn't count.
Very sexy pants you're wearing, James.
At number 4, and far less subtle than Honey Ryder, is this ill-fated character from Diamonds Are Forever, whose name is a double entendre.
Hi, I'm Pleanty.
But of course you are.
That's a good start, but then...
Pleanty O'Toole.
Named after your father, perhaps?
Penelope Smallbone's father can only look on with envy.
What the hell is this?
A pervert convention or something?
Pleanty is one of several casual Bond girls who are more or less disposable.
Exceptionally fine shot.
I didn't know there was a pool down there.
And was played by Lana Wood, sister of West Side Story star Natalie Wood. Into the top 3, and we're back with Brosnan for one of the highlights of his tenure.
Ksenia Sergeyevna Onatop.
Onatop?
By name,
Onatop.
by nature. Played by Famke Janssen, Xenia Onatop is one of a subset of Bond girls whose name also describes them. And while many Bond girls exist just to be pretty, vulnerable and horizontal in that order, Onatop is a genuine character.
Oh, you think you can hurt me?
And a genuine threat.
You think you can break me?
She was a key part of the mid-90s reboot and a sort of bridge in the series' changing attitude towards its female characters.
No. No more foreplay.
Narrowly beating out Onatop for the number 2 spot is...
Holly Goodhead.
You've got to admire its purity. That is, after all, a real name.
I'm looking for Dr. Goodhead.
You just found her.
A woman?
Arguably, Dr. Goodhead, played by Lois Chiles, is the only principal Bond girl of the Moore years with a proper double entendre name. Unless you count Miss Goodnight in The Man with the Golden Gun.
I approve.
You do?
Oh, not the wine. Your frock.
Or Triple X in The Spy Who Loved Me.
You sent for me, Comrade General.
But Triple X is a code name, not her real name, and although it could refer to an X rating...
Triple X. Bond, what do you think you're doing?
It could just as easily be a mint.
Keeping the British hand up, sir.
While Good Night just sounds like good night, as opposed to a good night. Neither of the Goods, Knight or Head, is as memorable a character as Onatop. Dr. Goodhead is one of the least memorable Bond girls, full stop.
My God, what's Bond doing?
I think he's attempting re-entry, sir.
Nor do they really contest for the number 1 spot, which, let's be honest, you knew before we started.
My name is Pussy Galore.
I must be dreaming.
There was really only one place this was going to end. Played by the great Honor Blackman and one of the very few Bond girls older than Bond, Pussy Galore is such a dirty name that it's the reason people think all Bond girl names are dirty.
You're a woman of many parts, Pussy.
Like it's so dirty, it's made those around it unclean.
You're quite a girl, Pussy.
What's close to genius about the name is that it is so on the nose that your brain almost rebels against it, and you find yourself thinking, oh, that's quite clever what they've done there. As if Pussy was a really common Christian name, or indeed Galore a common surname.
Ah, very chic, Miss Galore, don't you agree? Please entertain Mr. Bond for me, Pussy.
There's no subtlety, it's not a pun or a play on a more common name, it just is what it is.
For their benefit, Pussy, let's make him as happy as possible.
Her name is that.
I even had to warn Pussy about it.
And I'd love to have been there for the christening, when the vicar said, "Are you absolutely sure about this, Mr. and Mrs. Galore?" It's only the fact that children might think it's about a cat that allows the film to be shown on Bank Holiday weekend.
Pussy. Pussy. And Pussy?
Thanks for watching. See all our Bond videos here. And, I'm probably going to regret this, let us know your Bond girl name suggestions in the comments below. Try not to get us thrown off YouTube.